Field experience has definitely been kind of different this year. Last semester, I was actually assigned to the same school and the same teacher as I was last semester. And going back into the classroom and not having to wear a mask, I was able to actually immediately identify students, the teacher, and even other students that I actually interacted with last semester. And some students, when I first walked into the classroom, some students were surprised that I actually was coming back because I told them last semester that I didn't know I was coming back. But they were actually shocked. Even the teacher was shocked that I came back. But overall, my interaction with everyone this field experience has been really, really pleasant. Um, they're all they all call me Miss Scott, um, which lifts my mood every day. Every day I go to field experience. My teacher actually incorporates me into the lessons she does to help me get a feel of the field. Students actually are willing to raise their hand and ask for my help. I walk around and I help students with their math. I point them in the right direction. Um, I help them with their reading. I help them sound out words. And the teacher, I can tell just by like the conversations me and the teacher have that she can tell she's actually grateful that I'm there learning. Because there was one thing that actually stuck out to me that she told me was that some teachers are there for the money. Teachers need to be there for their students and not just money. And I really took that with a heavy heart because teachers, I agree, teachers need to be there for the students to watch their growth and they're different in the different studies they're learning. But when I went to field experience last Thursday, the 14th of April, I was able to actually teach a mini lesson to the students. I made sure, of course, to ask my teacher the standard and what they were learning. And of course, she said that they were between two different standards, NC 2.G.3 and NC 2.G.1. So they were between those two. And I was able to actually immediately know what I was going to do for the mini lesson. I cut out different shapes, 3D and 2D shapes that I was going to review with the students. And of course I did. And I got a lot of students that immediately raised their hand and wanted to answer the question. But of course I wanted to give each student a chance to actually answer the questions that I was giving them. And then of course I read a fractions book, which is actually kind of went with NC.2.G.3, where they had to figure out halves, wholes, thirds, fourths, and I went with the mini lesson that I did. And my teacher allowed me to read that book to them, and they were quite excited to actually read a book. And then, of course, I printed out a little exit ticket for them. It was halves, wholes, and it was thirds. So I printed that, and we went back over it after each student was done. But overall, that mini lesson really gave me a look into how teachers actually teach. I could actually feel myself growing from just that little experience, and I actually loved it. If I could do it again, I definitely would. And overall, my field experience, I'm not quite done yet. I go back. I've already completed my hours, but I love going back, getting get more into the schools. Like my teacher says, that if you, as many times as you go into school is really good for you, because you actually get to see the lives of the students and the teachers in the classroom, and you can actually make yourself a routine that you can stick to when you become a teacher in your own classroom. And I really love that. But overall, my mini lesson was definitely a success. And of course, I'd love to do it again. But the things like change, I wish that I did have some students that would stand out of their seats and immediately try to yell at the answer without raising their hand. But I would love to change that. I wish I had more of a control over some of the students in there. Though me and my teacher did pick students that went with me to learn the lesson, because we both knew those students would behave good. And I wish we did take a little bit more deeper look into the behavior of some students that day. And I know students were excited to learn with me, but like I said, I wish we looked more deeper into the depth of the behavior of the students that day. But overall, I loved the field experience this semester. Everyone was compliant and they were all willing to learn, even the teacher. And I love learning the different routines that the teacher has and all the deeper look into the teachers' lives in the classroom, because in the future, it's going to be my classroom.